launch. All right, so again, everybody, welcome. This is Taria Vision Avant, and I am extremely excited, guys, to present to you the official virtual launch for the book titled It's Not That Easy, Stop Telling Me to Get Over It. And as you can see, these are some beautiful women that decided to be a part of this amazing collaboration project that we launched or that we started putting together several months ago. And I am extremely excited because we're talking about a topic that I have been freely spoken about, going through mental illnesses myself, but having more powerful women to be a part of this collaboration project that you might not even have any idea that they're secretly dealing with or even publicly dealing with mental illnesses. It is said that 1 in 5 adults will actually suffer from some sort of mental illness in their life. And out of those 1 in 5, it'll be 1 in 3 or is it 2 and 3 will actually have severe mental illness challenges. And so we definitely need to talk about it. We definitely need to make sure that we continuously talk about it. And the title of our book is actually, It's Not That Easy, Stop Telling Me to Get Over It. And so I'm excited because I'm going to introduce you to some of the amazing co-authors. This is just a few of the co-authors from this book. And we have a book launch that's actually taking place this weekend in Houston, Texas. So if you are actually watching the replay, hopefully you're watching it before the weekend comes. It's going to be this Saturday in Houston, Texas from 2 to 5. But if you're watching the replay after the launch, then you are still welcome to go check out our website. It's notthateasybook.com, and you can connect with any one of our co-authors and learn more about them, as well as directly connect with them and talk with them. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on one of our first co-authors. And she is, like I said, guys, all of them have dealt with some type of mental illness, and you've got to get the book in order to find out exactly what those specific challenges were. But you see her with this beautiful head wrap, darling, on her head. And so I'm going to bring her off the line and get Miss Tiffany Cofield to join us. Tiffany, how you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good. How's everyone doing?
Well, we're doing awesome, Tiffany. Now you want to sound like you're breaking up a little bit, so I'm not sure. It's getting a little choppy. Oh, yeah, you had the microphone in
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud.
Okay, sorry.
No problem, Tiffany. So do me a favor and let everybody know a little bit about who you are and where you are from.
Okay, well, I am from Memphis, Tennessee originally. I currently live in Fort Worth, Texas. I've been here for a little bit over 7 years, and I currently deal with counseling and currently started my practice as a publicist in the field of public relations. Just starting that this year. Background deals with education and mental health counseling, as well as teaching and education. A little bit of government, working as a parole officer in the state agency with food stamps and Medicaid as well. So just had a little bit of everything as far as employment goes. But my passion is public relations and counseling, mental health as well. It's really what I'm into, is counseling, public relations, and being a publicist. So that's really what I'm really into and passionate about.
Okay, thank you so much. And tell us, why did you decide to actually be in this book and, really share personal information about yourself?
When you mentioned or put out there about, wanting to get involved with the book, it just was a time where I felt like, I should share what I've been going through as a way of breaking through the barriers that I've been holding and, suppressing throughout my life, as far as what I've been dealing with, as far as the depression and the mental health issues, and just wanting that freedom and being able to release the bondage, and you never know, who I might be able to help, and the issues that I've been able to cope with and survive throughout the years of dealing with mental health and depression and anxiety, and just, just getting over those barriers, getting through, and just, the daily hustle of how I'm able to manage and deal with depression, and how it has really, really hindered me, and how it is, it's nothing that you can just wake up one day and it's over. It's something that you have to really, really deal with, and how you have to find ways to cope. And you have to figure out, throughout life, okay, how are these things, how am I able to deal with this? How am I able to cope? How am I able to figure out ways of, battling this and not letting it overcome, my life?
Absolutely. And, I'm on that as well. I'm going to come back to you as well so we can talk more about, how you feel that this book is going to change lives. And, definitely, depression is most definitely, and in any mental illness, as I think of, is not just one of those things where you could just wake up and say, oh, I'm healed. Unfortunately, it's something that is a daily battle. It's a daily struggle. And all of the co-authors in this book will tell you whatever the challenge it is that they had to deal with, it is something that we continuously push through every single day. And, we have to put on those smiles, we have to keep on moving, because if we don't keep on moving, the bills don't get paid. And unfortunately, I'm sure many of us can all relate to being in those positions where we didn't move, we stopped moving. And, I stopped moving for months. And fortunately, God did have me positioned into a way where I was able to still kind of keep things afloat. But there are many people who can't. They're not positioned in a way where they can keep things afloat. And I think that's why it's so important that we have these conversations about mental illness, because especially within our community and people that have this color skin, we've all been taught to just, sweep it under the rug, or we've been taught to read a scripture. I'll never forget when I had told one of my mentors at the time what I was dealing with, and I just didn't know how to shake it. I didn't even really know to call it depression. And I reached out to him, and the only thing he responded to me was gave me a scripture to read. And to me, I'm like, I've been reading scriptures, like that's not working. I need something else to work. That's not working for me. And so, for many of us, we need to figure out what are those alternative solutions. And one of the questions that I do ask the co-authors is, what are some of the things that they have done to cope with their mental illnesses? And so if whatever you're dealing with, and we have all different types in this book, you can actually read through these stories and figure out things that you can apply to your life that can actually help you. So I'm going to bring on another one of our co-authors, and you see she has this beautiful, nice background with the Kiana sign up there behind her. And I'm going to have her to go ahead and share a little bit about herself. So Kiana Brown, if you could, darling, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and where you're from.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I'm excited to be here. I am from the DMV area, actually residing in Maryland right now. Was born and raised in Washington, D.C., and I'm currently the proprietor of a pet grooming salon in Forestville, Maryland. I got to give a shout out to Pooch Styles. So if some of you are out there listening, go ahead and bring your pet on over. But anyhow, I also do inspirational speaking. I have a show that's aired on Facebook, WBGR Forgiveness Fridays, where we're talking about a topic of forgiveness every single week, because I feel that that's something that's needed in our lives, and that's something that really helped me with my mental health challenge, because I had to not beat myself up about it and forgive myself in that area. But I dibble and dabble in a lot of different things. Author. I've written about 4 books right now, and just loving to get out there and share the message of forgiveness and whatever is related to me, because I know that there are some people out there that need to heal from something, need to release from something. And so I feel that that's my assignment, that God has allowed for me to go through different challenges, hurdles, experience different things so that I can help my fellow sister or my fellow man.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kiana, for, definitely being a part of this. And, again, I love the fact that you're sharing that you're doing, so many other things. And even at the same time, still having to deal with some of the challenges, right? So why was you made a decision, though, that, well, first of all, how has this book really applied to some of the things or the challenges that you've been through in life? And we will get to some more questions, but how do you feel that it's also going to help other people reading the book?
I feel that it's going to help other people because we are people and something that they can identify with. When people talk about a mental health challenge, they think of schizophrenia. They think of all different types of things where people are heavily medicated. And you forget to think about this simple thing, just like stress. Stress is actually a mental disease. It is a disorder because it actually starts within your mind. And so for people to actually read the book and understand that these are common things that happen to everyday normal people. What does a person look like that has a mental health issue? Well, that person looks like me. That person looks like you. And, they put this stigma on top of it, and people don't want to go out and get help. And the thing that I really hope that this book shares is that it's okay to go and talk to somebody. A lot of the times people feel because they have a mental health issue that they don't want to go talk to a doctor or a therapist because, hey, there's something wrong with me. But if you stub your toe, if you cut your finger, you go get a stitch. If you have a headache, you take some pills so that the headache can go away. And if there's something going on with you mentally, then why not go to the doctor or the person that can help you with that? And they choose not to do that because of the label that it puts on them. So I hope that this book will open up people's mindsets to view this in a different light.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm with you on that as well. I pray that it does help us to really see this totally different, to no longer be ashamed of it because it is real. Mental illness is real. And there's different causes and different reasons as to why we may go through mental illnesses, whether it's a chemical imbalance or we've experienced something traumatic in our life. Or I even believe that it can be brought down through generations. And so, we've got to make sure, guys, that we stop feeling bad about dealing with these emotions and start actually attacking those emotions. Because now what's happening, and I don't know if you guys agree as well, my co-authors, but now what's happening because of social media and because of the instant fame that a lot of these young kids are getting by acting out on these challenges, that people are wanting to go down however they go down with a name. And it's crazy to think that, but it's the truth. And a lot of times we ignore some of these signs. We ignore some of the things, like even something as small as just, you asking, do you want to go out and let's enjoy the sun? And no, they just constantly want to be in the dark. I know me, that was a situation. I was always wanting to be in the dark, never wanted to be in the light. And I always wanted to have me some Jesus juice, right? And so definitely want to welcome everybody that's also watching us live. I know that we have Shay Abbott watching us live. Hello, Sheena Moten, who is also watching us live. And anybody else, if you're watching us live, definitely welcome. I think we have Minister Jacqueline that was also on live as well. So anybody who's watching us, please share this video. If you know anybody that could definitely be affected by this conversation, it's so important that you do share this information because, again, many of us are secretly dealing with these illnesses and these challenges, and we don't need to deal with these things by ourselves anymore. We have help out here. We have people out here that will allow you to be bold in what you're dealing with, and not at the same time just helping you, but helping other people. All right, so let's bring on another one of our co-authors, and her name is Melissa Newton. Melissa Newton, hello, darling.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Good, my love. Share with everybody a little bit about yourself and why you decided to be in this book.
Thank you. Thank you for just the opportunity. I just really, first of all, I'm so excited about this opportunity. So let me just take my time. I am from Fort Pierce, Florida, born and raised, but I reside in Port St. Lucie, Florida. And if any of you know where West Palm Beach is, I am an hour north of West Palm. Normally when people ask, well, where is Port St. Lucie? That is a good place for you to understand where I live. I am a retired educator. I early retired about 2.5 years ago. I was everything from a teacher to a principal. And I have decided after those 2.5 years of being in business with my husband, basically that what I was doing with my husband did not make me happy. So I am pursuing my passion, and that is to be known as your spiritual hope coach. And my passion and my mission is to help women that are hurting get their hope back, and to know that once you get your hope back, that you can thrive, that you can overcome what it is that you are dealing with. I've gone through and I've become a certified counselor as far as school counseling is concerned, and I'm a certified life coach. But at the end of the day, my ministry work, I decided is that, wherever God leads me, that it is going to be a faith, but I had to be real with myself. And so that is why I decided to join your book collaboration, because for many years I suited up, I wore nice heels, I had fresh haircuts, I did all that you could think of as a professional. And on the inside, I was a hot mess. I was broken. I was afraid to let people know that I needed help, because I was helping so many other people. And what I had to realize is that through all the years that I had gone through trauma, through all the years that I had gone through tragedy in my life, that it was now time to deal with the fact that it's okay to go live about my mental health challenges throughout my years, and that it's okay. I can still be a Christian. I can still be a woman of faith. I can still shout hallelujah and still need my mental health professional. I believe that you should know your mental health professional just as much as you know your gynecologist. And that's a drop mic circumstance. And because it's just that serious, if you are battling the fear of not wanting to go live with understanding you can talk about it, you can get help, and self-advocacy is real. You have to know that you're not crazy because you have dealt with some mental health challenges in your life or currently going through mental health challenges.
Absolutely. That was real powerful. You're right. It is a drop the mic moment, what you just shared, because I a lot of times people don't really know how to handle those situations. And, that's also something I think is really important, because even when we're dealing with mental health issues, I think one of the biggest challenges that many of us may have is when we reach out to people that we love, we don't like the way that they respond. But many of them, just like we have never been taught how to handle mental illness, neither have they. And so they don't know how to respond. And so that's why even a book like this, where you may not see yourself as having any mental illness challenges, but maybe you have a loved one and you really don't know how to react to what they're going through, I think that this is also very important. And that actually leads me to ask you, Melissa, and I'm going to ask you as well, Tiffany. Melissa, did you ever reach out to anybody and within your immediate circle? And what was their response? Or did you ever, well, this is like a twofold. So did you reach out? What was their response? Threefold. And what could be ways that you could teach them how to respond to you? So
okay. Did I reach out? Yes. What was the response? Well, baby, we are strong. And I tell you, as a strong Black woman, you just need to give it to God. You need to give it to God, because God is going to help you. And I believe, absolutely. And I definitely did not denounce giving it to God. But what I also was learning through this process was that I needed to be more intentional through my process, not just give it to God and not pray about it or go and seek help. So yes, I went to seek help. I actually, talked to other people that were going to a therapist and or a counselor. And I had to realize that when you seek help and when you or have someone that comes to you and that need help, don't denounce their pain. Don't denounce what they're going through. If you don't have time to listen, then don't play with it. I feel that, if you know someone who is in that profession, kindly ask for that individual to go with you. Maybe you can advocate for them. Maybe you could be a voice for them because they're afraid to talk about it. Many of us wear capes. We wear the strong woman, I am superwoman cape, but we don't want to take our capes off. And that sometimes in our mind, it shows a sign of I'm weak or I can't do it or I'm not a woman who's got it going on. But in the end, that stress level that my sister in the book talked about, Kiana, I believe you mentioned it, stress can compound other issues that you're having in your life. So if we're not patient enough to listen, then don't play with someone's illness or don't play with someone's circumstance. And first of all, you need to find out if they even believe in God before you tell them to give it to God. And that's just a reality. We have to be mindful of who they believe in before we tell them to give it to God. So, it's a circumstance, a person by person circumstance.
Absolutely, Melissa. That was really good. Only because I even remember just feeling like when I would tell certain people and then they give me a scripture or they'd say, you need to read the Bible, or I felt like they were judging me. And now I'm never going to come talk to you or open up to you again because you don't know what I'm doing right now. And I felt like, and a lot of times because we don't know what to do. And so I'm going to ask you that, Tiffany, and then I'm going to bring on one of our other co-authors. So Tiffany, did you ever go out and seek any additional help? And what was the response that you received?
I did. I went to a counselor back in college because it was free services. For me, it was just like she was just a sounding board, just to kind of hear myself talking. She did give good advice, but it was, like I said, just a sounding board for what I was just going through. And then I kind of saw a physician and got more of a medical perspective and got on medication. For me, that was more of a numbing effect with the medication, and reaching out to family and friends, more so of a friend that I could trust. It was just like, kind of like you'll be okay. You'll get through it. Just kind of like a yes person, or not even really knowing how to deal with what you're going through, because a lot of people, when they don't know anything about depression or how to deal with someone going through depression, they don't know how to respond to it. So it was just more so dealing with it on your own, and you're really not knowing how to go to people with it because they don't even know how to respond to what you're going through. So it was just kind of like me finding a way within myself of how to deal with it and how to channel it for myself. So it's just kind of going through this path by myself of how to deal with depression and how to find my own coping skills and how to get through this on my own. And, I figured out, that, yeah, God is, a way, but like, it's been said, if you don't have that relationship, or if you don't really understand or have that thought process of, their mentality of that faith in God, you can't go through that path of having that knowledge of that's a way or a key of helping me get through depression or anxiety, because it's not going to help you, and it's not going to help a person in their area if that's not where they're going, or it's not going to help them at all, because it's certain ways and certain areas that people have to learn how to deal with their depression. And sometimes, you know, religion is not the answer for them. So it's just, you know, I had to figure out in different ways and different channels of how to cope and how to deal with it. And most of the time it wasn't, you know, I couldn't reach out to anybody because, you know, certain people just didn't know how to help me in a situation. So I had to kind of figure it out for myself.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for sharing that. Because definitely, you know, I appreciate you sharing the fact that sometimes you didn't know how to deal with it, or, you know, even just having to deal with it yourself. And I think a lot of us probably go through those phases where, like, even myself, I felt like I just need to deal with it myself. But the truth is, you know, when I actually released the video and I was sharing my depression story, I did a whole video on YouTube. A lot of people had no idea, even though, like, in ways like I would tell them, but we are so good. Many of us that are in this book too, we're so good at putting on a face that they were just like, there's no way you were going through it. And I think also, and again, this is for any mental illness, whether it's schizophrenia, it's post-traumatic stress disorder. There's so many out there, guys, that many of us even deal with, and we're afraid to share with other people because we think they just won't believe us, or we think that they just don't know how to help us. One thing that we need to do, though, is we really need to learn how to teach people how to help us. You know, for me, a great example would have been, like, if I am going through depression, first of all, you know, and you notice like you haven't talked to me in a few days, like, literally drag me out the house. Like, I don't even want, you know, you got to get me out the house and get me to do something, because motion creates emotion. And when you're not moving, when you're not doing, it reduces your emotion, right? So that's why when people are going through certain mental illnesses, we just don't want to do nothing, but that causes it to strengthen even more. And so I think that one of the things that we need to learn how to do is teach people. And so if you don't know how to do that, that's another reason why you've got to get a copy of this book. By the way, we do have our book launch taking place in Houston, Texas this weekend, the 23rd, from 2 to 5 p.m. Make sure, guys, go to the website. It's notthateasybook.com to register. You can get a chance to connect with all of the co-authors in the book as well. You can go to their page, learn more about their biography, and connect directly with them. Well, I'm going to bring on another young lady. She's a fellow Hamptonian sister with myself, and yes, she is rocking her purple. And so got that swoop going, girl. You looking real fabulous over there. So I'm going to go ahead and unmute her. None other than Danielle Johnson. Danielle, hold on. Did I unmute you? Let me see. I don't think it did. It's not unmuting. Can you unmute yourself? I don't know. It's not letting me unmute you. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you loud and clear. If you could share with us a little bit about your journey, your story, and why you decided to be a part of this book.
Okay, well, hello. My name is, now I have to be unmuted by you because it's saying you're unmuted by the host. Okay, I'm good. Well, my name is Danielle Johnson. I'm originally from Jessup, Georgia. And as Taria said, I am a graduate of Hampton University. I lived in Maryland for quite some time, like 16 years after graduation, and now I currently reside in Atlanta, Georgia for the past 7 years. In my past life, I was a pharmaceutical rep for 16 years, and it was a great life. Sold in the mental health space, so that gave me a good idea as to how, from the medical perspective, how medications worked in these conditions, which at the time I wasn't openly admitting that I struggled with. It wasn't until after I graduated from college, because my issue, once you purchase the book, you will read and see, was my illness was brought on by a traumatic event that happened to me in college. And so for a long time, I just said, you know what? Nothing happened. Because going back to the conversation that all of you wonderful ladies was just sharing, people don't know how to react or to respond to things. And the one person that I told about this situation, he had no clue. And to come back 20 years later, when we met up not too long ago, he apologized to me. He said, because we were kids, we didn't know how to handle those things at the time. I didn't know what to say to you. But now, you know, and that didn't impact our friendship in any way. But I struggled with suicidal ideation early on, and thank God I can say that I'm delivered from that. I haven't gone back to that place, but it was a really tough place. Also, depression and anxiety. And I, like you, Taria, if you have not heard from me, I have people that are in my circle. And I'll give you one example of with my best friend when I was really going through something, and they know my spirals and things like that. She got in her car. She said, I hadn't talked to you in a day. And all of a sudden, like the next day, she comes walking through the door of my home. And she drove from Tallahassee. She was like, no, it's time to get out of bed. So surrounding yourself with those people who really understand what your challenges are, who understand and accept the fact that it's okay for you to take off your mask and be real and be who you are, if that's going to get you to a place of help and true self-care. And so for a long time, I wore this mask every day. I was ready to go. I was performing at my job. I was winning awards, and I would get in my car and I couldn't make it home because I was crying so bad. And the sadness was just overtaking me. And like I think Melissa was saying, we're taking care of so many people that you can't take off the cape. You can't take off the mask. You can't like stop juggling all the balls and let one fall, because then people are going to think that you're not strong enough to handle what it is that you're presented with at the time. But the strength comes from being open and honest with yourself about where you are and what it is that you're dealing with. The fact that you can admit that you can't handle everything, that you do need to seek help. And that's where I was. So I chose to be a part of this project because I felt that it was the last leg of my healing. And honestly, just the final opportunity for me to even share with those that are close to me, such as my parents, who never knew what I was dealing with. They just thought that I was this person that was handling everything that I needed to handle. So now it's really exciting for me and a little bit scary at the same time, because they're going to finally know what it is that I was dealing with all of those years. So my hope is for this book that those of you that are suffering in silence, just come on out of the shadows, because you're not by yourself. It is time to really break the stigma that is associated with mental illness, mental health challenges, however you want to term it or define it, and say that it's okay, because there are so many different facets that fall under this umbrella. Like, even for me, struggling with body dysmorphia, like standing in the mirror, I would never take a shower with the lights on because I did not want to see myself. I wasn't pleased with my body and things like that. Whereas somebody else see me and they just like, oh no, you're great, you're great. That's not what you see. So when we think about mental health, don't limit it to just certain things like, oh, she's schizophrenic, oh, she's depressed, oh, she has anxiety. There's body dysmorphia, there's eating disorders. There are so many challenges. And now that I work in the mental health space, serving as a professional relations liaison and a health advocate for those who are struggling with mood and anxiety disorders, with eating disorders, I'm able to really, really feel like I'm at a point where I can help people, as I want, through motivational speaking and inspirational speaking, holding conferences and symposiums, to just get this message out here that it's okay. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. And trust me when I tell you, you aren't the only one that's going through this. Know that you have a team of people. Know that you have a family here to reach out to support you and to help you. But it's just really important that you connect with those. So, Taria, I thank you for even sending out a post about this, and this opportunity to be a part of this book. When I read it, I was like, that's it. This is what I have to do, because it's time to really share the story and help somebody else, because this is no longer about me and my healing. It's about helping those to heal who are still hiding in shadows and are suffering in silence.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Danielle. And we do have somebody that asked a question. And so I think this is a really good question. We've kind of answered it, but not directly. So I'm going to start off with you, Danielle. And the question is, how do I share mental illness with my family members without feeling judged? And I don't know if that's necessarily a way to do it, but what would be your response to that question?
My response to that question is, number one, we can't control how somebody else is going to look at us. Your job is to put it out there so that somebody will know that you are suffering. But I would say that for those that because the reason why I didn't share my story, my mother, is because as much as I love her, I feel that sometimes she can be judgmental. So I had to partner or connect with people that I know were okay with even listening to me share this, that would be able to point me in the right direction. And I'm going to tell you how mine happened. After I graduated from college and I was at church, I used to be over our dance ministry at church, and I met my big sister. Her name is Dr. Reba Kelsey Harris. Here in Atlanta, we used to dance together on ministry in Baltimore. And once I was talking to her, because I got with somebody that I felt comfortable opening up to. That's the one thing, identifying those people that you already know that are not going to judge. Don't go to people just because they're family, because sometimes family is the people that can hurt you the most or misunderstand you the most. So that's the one thing that I would say. And as I was sharing my story, she began to just offer words of encouragement, but she also asked me, have you ever thought about talking to someone about this? And she went with me. So I think for me, it's identifying those people that you know you aren't, that are not going to judge you. And all of the time, that's not your family. So don't go, if you already have it in your mind that she's going to judge me when I say this, then that is not the person for you to reach out to. It is not. I would prefer that you go through your healthcare system and find somebody to talk to, because they're trained not to do that. They're trained to listen to you, trained to understand what it is that you're saying and put you on the right path to healing and self-care. So that's what it was for me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate that answer. And I'm gonna also ask Kiana as well, but I want to answer that too for me. And I'm with you as well, Danielle. When I did attempt to reach out to people who knew me the most, again, they just didn't know how to respond, because this whole time, all they see is Taria the Great. You know what I mean? She's out here speaking, impacting lives. Like, girl, what problems you got? You ain't got no problems. And then a lot of times people will judge based on what it seems like you have as far as materialistically. They say, what do you have to complain about? And so for me, when I did reach out to them, and I would also say that, like, well, what do I have to complain about? How dare me? And so what I did was I joined a non-denominational small group. I went to a non-denominational church, and I joined a small group. And in the small group, we were allowed to share our stories. The purpose of this group was to actually, in this non-denominational church, was at the end of I think it was like 8 or 9 weeks, we were supposed to understand the story of Jesus, right? But in the process, we got a chance to get to know everybody. And so I was in this group of people where one of the couples were ex-drug addicts, and they shared their story. Another person was having a challenge with believing in God, and his father was a pastor. Then we had another person who was dealing with this, and another person. And so everybody got a chance to share their story. And I remember the day when I got a chance to share my story. And when I say I like broke all the way down, I had the snot face, one of those types of cry. It was nasty cry. And everybody just hugged me. Like, nobody started telling me what to do right away. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't immediately get there. Well, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. It was just love. And that was the first time where I felt good about my situation, because number one, I'm in a room with everybody else who's going through stuff. Nobody's judging each other, and everybody just loved me. And so that for me was therapy in itself. And so everybody's going to have their different ways of how they're able to cope with it, right? And so that's why it's, again, important that you do want to get this. And I'm not trying to push the sell of this book, but I am wanting you to understand the importance of a book like this, because everybody's journey is different. Everybody's story is different, and how we handle and cope with things, it's all different. And so I'm going to ask Kiana if Kiana would like to share as well. How did you ever handle sharing with a family member and not feeling judged, or did you ever do that?
Okay, thank you. So I did share with a family member, and it was someone that was close to me, but I knew that this person wouldn't judge me. This person had been there for me through thick and thin, through incarceration, through everything. This person had been there to hold me down. And so it was okay. So for me, my advice for someone is to share with someone that you feel you're in a safe space with. And I agree with everything that you all said, finding someone else to talk to outside of your family, because people that are in your family, the ones that are closest to you, can actually be the most judgmental, the ones who want to poke the finger at you. And so just finding a group like Taria did, I believe that that's awesome. I was in a group that was not for people who dealt with depression, but it was just, actually it was a group for people who were trying to lose weight. And so you know that people who are in that space deal with, sometimes deal with depression, and that's a big part of my story. And, you know, I was able to just get up and share it. And as Taria said, you get hugs. And in that group, it wasn't just somebody who gave you a hug in the group. We actually had outreach calls, and, you know, just to have that person to call and check on you to see how you're doing. So involving yourself in those type of activities, those groups, and knowing who you can share with, that will allow for you to have a safe space with them. That's my advice, and that's the way that I would go.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kiana. I appreciate it. So we're going to get ready to wrap this on up. What I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to have each one of you to share any last imparting words. By the way, let me shout out. We have a comment from Joy Caldwell. She says, take care of your mental health just as intentionally as your physical health. And absolutely, that is so important. Like, a lot of times we don't think about that. And I'm telling you, with social media, with the media, with anything, it's so easy for us to start comparing. And I think the state of our mental health is getting worse today because of how judgmental the world is. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I was on Instagram today, and I was looking at, somebody had put a post, and of course everybody got something to say about your post. Everybody would comment, and then their response, they would clap back. And they clap back talking about that person's appearance. And I can just only imagine, like, being in a space like that where people are constantly coming at you. And so we've got to make sure, guys, you know, I'm sitting here drinking some tea, and it says, this quote, it's a yogi tea. And it says, in the beginning, it is you. In the middle is you. And in the end is you. You're left with you. And honestly, guys, it's okay to want to be able to take care of other people. These are my last imparting words. It's okay to want to take care of other people, but the most important person that is in your life that you must take care of is you. You can't help anybody else if you don't take care of you first. And so, no, we cannot keep on just sweeping this under the rug. No, we cannot keep on ignoring it or waiting until tomorrow to deal with whatever it is we're dealing with. Because every single day that we push it back, every single day that we delay is another person's whose life could be impacted, because we now know how to handle our mental health situations. And we're not telling you here, guys, that it'll ever be something you get over. Life is crazy. Life is hard. And we, every single day, we got to put on our pants and put on our shoes and put on these smiles. But if we know how to cope with some of these things, it makes things a little bit easier. And so, Tiffany, I'm going to have you go ahead and share your last imparting word, and then I'm going to bring on our other co-author.
Okay. Something that always sticks with me is that I kind of transformed into my own is on my cousin's dying bed. She died of cancer. Her name is Yvette Abraham. She said that I don't have, cancer doesn't have me, I have cancer. So I always say, you know, mental health doesn't have me, I have mental health. So I just say with anybody, you know, mental health doesn't have you, you have mental health. So that means that you have to control your mental health. So it doesn't control you, you control it. So, you know, just always remember, you have mental health doesn't have you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Now, one more thing, guys. Many people are asking, where can we go to purchase the book? If you know any of these beautiful ladies, you can connect with them directly to get a copy. If you don't know how to connect with them directly, simply go to itsnotthateasybook.com, and then you're able to connect with whoever it is that you connect with the most, and click on their bio, check their bio out, and then, of course, reach out to them, and then you can get a copy of this, an autographed copy everybody. You can also come to the book launch that's taking place this Saturday if you are in Houston, Texas, or if you know anybody in Houston, Texas, you can register by going to itsnotthateasybook.com. All right, I'm going to bring on the next person. Let me get Melissa. Melissa, I'm going to have you to leave your last and parting words.
Thank you. And I want to say ditto to everything my co-authors have said. I've nodded my head throughout this whole interview process, this online talk. And I want to just say this, and I wrote this on my phone, is that we need to talk about mental disorders the way we talk about other medical disorders. We generally don't let having a medical illness define a person's identity, yet we are very cautious about revealing mental illness because it will somehow define a person's competence. And as Tiffany said, my sister author in this book, we control it. We control it. We must know that we are intentionally powerful to know that we are capable of getting the help we need, and that that help is going to help someone else, and we can't be ashamed about it. And so that's why I stand tall with my co-authors in this book. I'm not ashamed. For many years, I was just so devastated. And, you know, I was thinking about all the medications that I could have taken over the years, and how, you know, when you think about what you did get through, I just want to commend each and every one of us that we all have a mission right now to help someone else. So for the family member, for the person who wanted to know about a family member, it may not be a family member. It may be just that safe space person that you're going to be given by God. And so I want to just encourage each and every one of you that's listening on this video and that will listen to the tape, the recording. It's just know you're not alone. Just know you're not alone, and it doesn't make you any less awesome than what you are, because you are awesome just by freeing yourself with understanding it's time to get some help.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Melissa.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and bring it over to Kiana. I'm going to have Kiana to leave her last and parting words.
Thank you. First of all, Taria, I just want to give it up to you because as one of my co-authors said, when they saw the title and they saw the message, they said, oh, I'm in. And this was absolutely me. And just the whole process of this virtual launch of the book, literally, guys, my eyes are watery. I'm trying not to cry because I feel that, you know, there's a connection. There's somebody, I'm trying not to go there. There's somebody out there that's feeling the same way that I'm feeling. And I know that my message and my other co-authors' message will help them get through it. And it's just awesome to feel not alone in this space and understand that it's not easy. And you can't tell me to just get over it. There was a situation that I was experiencing the other day. I was cleaning off of my table, and on my table I have a little jar that I keep some things on, and I found a bottle of a sleeping aid. And in those moments when I am feeling weak, when I feel like I want to be away from the world, and I know that's the beginning, I go and grab those pills because I want to do nothing but sleep. And so the first step that I had to do, I just threw them away. Immediately when I saw them, I threw them away because I know that I have control over my mind. I know that things will try to creep up, things will try to haunt me, things will try to take over. But ultimately for me, I have control over my mind. As my co-author says, we control it. It does not control us. And so merely as I go through this journey, I know that today is my stepping stone for a greater tomorrow. I am going to live the best that I can today. And I know that I'll make tomorrow even greater. And we have to remember to live it, do it, and be it. Thank you guys. This is just amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was absolutely awesome as well. And last but definitely not least, none other than Danielle Johnson. Danielle, if you could go ahead and leave us with your last and parting words.
Whew. So Kiana, I'm like dapping my eye the whole time while I'm sitting here because this has truly been an awesome experience. But as I stated before, I want everybody who's just out there suffering. You know who you are and what it is that you're dealing with. I need for you to know, it is imperative that you know in this very moment that you are not alone. Um, every last one of us has a story to tell, but it's about whether or not we tell that story that's going to help somebody else. We have come together in this book to share our stories, to be healed by our stories, but to also be a help me for those of you who are still suffering. Um, I think about everything that I went through, and I think about everything that everybody has shared, from being on medication, from sitting in the bathroom floor and calling my sister like, this is it. You know, I can't be that person anymore. You live your life for you. You don't live it for anybody else. You live it for you, because guess what? God gave you this one life, and he gave it to you to live it to the best of your abilities, to the fullest, to enjoy every moment, every second that you possibly can. He tells us in his word that it's impossible to live this life with trials and tribulations. So we know that it's going to come. It's just how you prepare yourself, the skill sets that you develop to cope with those things and those tragedies and those traumas that come your way. And I did that. I've learned to meditate, and just take time. There are all kind of apps that the Insight Timer is one that I use just to meditate in the morning and just to center myself and focus and draw closer to God. I read. But like Taria also said, I get up and I move and I dance and I have a good time, because you have got to do that. If you stay buried under the covers, if you stay hidden, if you stay closed off from the world and blinds drawn and curtains closed, you're never going to live in great joy and walk in peace as you were designed to. And it's not that you have to be perfect to be in peace, because you don't. We are imperfectly perfect. And when we share our stories with you, it's to let you know that we are all professional women. We all got families. Somebody got kids. Somebody got a dog. We are all doing it in spite of what it is that we're dealing with. And so can you. So if there are any questions or anything that any of you may have or want to connect with us, Taria just gave you all of the information to do so. We welcome this, because we want to start this conversation. We want to get this message out here that you are not alone. Step out of the shadows. Stop suffering in silence. It is okay. This is okay. Tiffany, you said it well. You have mental illness. It doesn't have you, just like with everything else. So I thank you all for just even being, like I said, a part of this project. I thank you to the beautiful women that I've met on this project, Taria, for just the vision to bring this project to life. And for those of you who joined us today, and I pray that you will just share this so that we can continue to just spread this word. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. That did it for me. Look, all of us over here, everybody was crying. And I'm seeing a lot of people typing that we're crying, and these are tears of joy. Tears of joy because we've made it through. God kept us. And we're grateful because if you're watching this video, God has also kept you. And so now it's time for us to, like Tiffany said, to definitely like reach out. Don't do this by yourself. You don't have to be by yourself in this situation. So this totally means a lot to me, this book here. And that's why we titled it It's Not That Easy. Stop telling me to get over it, because it's not. It's not that easy. Life is not that easy. No, we're not just going to just wait till tomorrow, or no, we're going to start dealing with this now. So make sure, guys, to go to the website, check it out. It's Not That Easy book. Make sure that you reach out to our fellow co-authors. Make sure, if you are in Texas, to come on out to the book launch. Let me put everybody's face on, and make sure, guys, that you definitely keep the faith, man, because I can tell you this too shall pass. Now, I know that's everybody knows about that. This too shall pass, but I promise you, get connected with the right people, and it shall happen for you. That is it. That is all. It's not that easy. Stop telling us to get over it, and make sure you get your autographed copy. We love you. God bless you. We'll talk to you later. Bye, y'all.